BB/18/1825. Ministère de la Justice, Division Criminelle. Filed under Espionage. The dossier covers Cotes-du-Nord, 1889 to 1891. One name appears 14 times across the file, Emile Boucher. Boucher was a civilian draftsman. Employed at the Dépôt de Cartes et Plans de la Marine in Paris. His job was to ink final copies of hydrographic survey plates, harbor depths, tidal coefficients, seabed contours. He had access to charts that were not sold to the public. Charts that showed fortification positions. In the spring of 1890, the Section de Statistique, France's military counterintelligence service, was alerted to an irregularity. A set of detailed coastal survey sheets covering the Bay de Saint-Brieuc had been requested from the depot's internal archive. The request was logged under a requisition number that did not correspond to any active naval project. The sheets were returned 4 days later. No one had signed them out. Colonel Jean Sandherr ran the Section de Statistique. He ordered surveillance on 3 depot employees who had been on shift during the period the sheets were checked out. Boucher was one of them. The charts in question were not ordinary navigation aids. They included soundings of approach channels to the port of Lolague, near Saint-Brieuc. They marked underwater obstructions. They recorded tidal ranges at 17 specific points along the coast between the Point de l'Arcuiste and Cap Frihel. Most critically, they contained annotations showing the fields of fire for shore batteries and the positions of 2 coastal fortifications that had been upgraded after 1871. Surveillance on Boucher lasted 6 weeks. During that period, he made 2 trips that could not be explained by his salary or his personal circumstances. The first was to St. Malo. The second was to the island of Jersey, in the Channel Islands, British territory, 14 miles from the Norman coast. On Jersey, Boucher was observed meeting a man at a hotel in St. Helier. French agents identified the man as a German national. His name was never entered into the judicial record. He was listed only as an intermediary. The Section de Statistique's internal files at the Service historique de la Défense in Vincennes, Series GR7N, refer to him by a single initial. Boucher was arrested upon his return to Paris. A search of his lodgings on the Rue de Vaugirard produced 3 items, a set of hand-traced copies of the Bay de Saint-Brieuc survey sheets, a list of tidal correction factors written in his own hand, and 1,200 francs in cash. His monthly salary at the depot was 150 francs. The case was prosecuted under the espionage provisions of the law of April 18, 1886, the statute that criminalized the communication of military secrets to foreign powers. Because the material involved coastal defense positions, the trial was conducted before a closed military tribunal in Rennes. No journalists were admitted. No transcript was published. The verdict was guilty. The sentence was recorded in the Division Criminelle's register. Boucher received 5 years of detention. The German intermediary on Jersey was never arrested. He left the island before French authorities could request British cooperation. No extradition was pursued. No diplomatic note was filed. What the file does not explain is how Boucher knew which sheets to copy. The Bay de Saint-Brieuc charts were stored in a restricted section of the depot archive. Access required authorization from a senior hydrographer. Boucher did not have that authorization. Someone gave him the requisition number. Someone told him which sheets mattered. That person was never identified. Colonel Sandherr would go on to lead the Section de Statistique through 4 more espionage cases before 1894, the year a different set of leaked military documents would trigger the Dreyfus Affair. The methods used in the Boucher case, internal surveillance, warrantless searches, closed tribunals, became the template. The same office. The same procedures. The same secrecy. The Boucher dossier was filed and sealed. It sat in the Archives Nationales for over a century. It was not referenced in any of the major histories of the Dreyfus Affair until Jean Doise cited it in Un secret bien garde, published by Seuil in 1994. The 1,200 francs were never traced. The German intermediary's full name was never declassified.